From the 600 ESPN El Paso River Oaks Properties Schoolyard Sports Studio, here's Steve Kaplowitz and Adrian Broadus.
And with that, we welcome you back to Sports Talk. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Here we go, 4th day of June, 2024. Busy show today. Adrian Broadus right across the glass, along with Michael Plundo next to him. I've got Alberto Urueta next to me and Cade McConnell as well. So as you might imagine, we've got a full house here on the program. Welcome, gentlemen. Good to have you back. Cade, good to see you. It has been a while, but welcome back to town. How are you?
We are back in the Sun City. Could not be more excited. I miss being in the studio with you guys. So excited for the show today.
Did you get a chance to go out to Escalante last week and hit some balls?
I did. I went out, saw Adrian and the guys right here over at the course. It was really cool. So happy for Escalante to having everybody out. It was cool to get to go out, hit some balls. I hadn't been down to that course but maybe once, so I actually got to go walk around and kind of look at it and hopefully play there soon for the first time. And so that was really cool. Happy to have those guys have us out. It was a cool experience.
How'd you hit? You hit all right? Just getting a chance to hit some balls in general. Did you enjoy it?
I did actually hit them okay. And the thing was, too, Steve, is I didn't take my clubs home this summer, which I normally do because I flew home. And that way, I didn't bring my clubs. So I haven't hit a ball in, a month and a half. And then I got to get out there and get some good work, and it wasn't too bad.
Well, I guess the good news is you got to hit with your clubs and not have to borrow clubs at Escalante. You actually get to use yours.
Exactly. That was the beauty of it. So kind of got to dial back in the swing a little bit and then went and golfed not too long ago. A couple days ago, we went out and golfed. It felt good.
Okay, excellent. Well, we got a busy show today. I don't know if you've heard.
Big show, Steve. Big show energy.
We have so many guests today.
I love it.
It's going to be great. First hour of the show, the A-Team's going to be here. Angelo Olivas, along with Andy Imfeld from El Paso Chihuahuas Baseball. They're back at home beginning tonight with their series against Vegas. Excited about that. Then, at 5 o'clock, UTEP Director of Athletics Jim Center is going to be stopping by, along with Jorge Vazquez, who runs the events out at UTEP, and they're going to talk about the potential Sun Bowl uplift that we were discussing so much a couple of weeks ago on the show. So they're going to be here at 5 for that. And then we're not just stopping then. At 6 o'clock, John Conniff's going to join us from Mad Friars, talk a little Padres minor league baseball before we get into our Chihuahuas game here at the bottom of the 6 o'clock hour.
Steve, we're covering it all. I mean, everything. The 5 o'clock hour is going to be excellent. We got Chihuahuas baseball back in town. We're going to talk about that here in this hour. Hour number 2, I want to hear from our listeners. I think questions will be great about the Sun Bowl upgrades, the Uplift project. I threw it on social media right now for Twitter. I think it's a huge deal. I'm all for this. I wonder if El Paso will be here when it's all said and done. We've talked about this at length, and I want to continue this discourse moving forward. And then 6 o'clock hour, we heard about it earlier today, lifetime ban for Marcano. Wow. And all the ripple effects. We'll talk about it with John Conniff from Mad Friars. Can't wait for that discussion. Not
to mention, even though Tucapita Marcano got a lifetime ban for betting on baseball when he was with the Pirates, how about the fact that a year for Jay Groom, who pitched for the Chihuahuas last year and this year?
Crazy stuff right there, man. I just, the whole ramifications, the ripple effect that this is having, the other players who are involved, like you mentioned with Groom, a rising prospect in the Padres organization. Yeah, I want to hear it all from John Conniff coming up later.
Now listen, Cade, you can't bet on sports, but at least you could play EA Sports as yourself now, because we finally saw the graphics start coming out, and I can imagine what you were thinking when word got out that you were part of that trailer.
It was so cool. I had a text from my tight end, Judah Ezenwa, in the morning, who had a screenshot of it. He was the first one to send me over. Adrian was one of the very first people, too, to send it over. It was so cool. And in the process, I felt like I was a kid on Christmas morning when I was like 5 years old. I was so excited. I was like giddy about it because, there wasn't very many teams featured in that trailer. True. And UTEP got really 2 clips of a feature. We had the UTEP versus Liberty game and then the UTEP versus Sam Houston game. And to be able to see my name highlighted right there in the video game was pretty surreal. You grow up and you you play all these games. You're like, oh, I want to play as Tom Brady. I want to play as Aaron Rodgers. And then you look and you see your name's there. I mean, that's pretty freaking cool.
Meanwhile, you were down 24-20 with 2 minutes and 17 seconds left to go in the third quarter against Sam Houston State.
That's right. And we know how that game ended up, right, Steve?
Yes, we did. A big dub with that fourth quarter comeback, second half win for the Miners. In fact, it was 1st and 10, and it looks like you were right at about, I can't tell, probably about your own 30-yard line or so, but you guys were moving the ball and getting it done right.
That's right. It was a little bit of a high snap there. I think they had Ivan Escobar in at center. You know, it was good, too. They had our updated O-line. So all the older players that had graduated or transferred away were not there. There was a couple guys on the O-line that had recently transferred away. But for the most part, everybody that was there, like they didn't have anybody that had already graduated or didn't have any eligibility left. So it was cool to see that. So I got a little bit of a high snap and then got to hand off the ball to Darian Trish.
Yeah, that's exactly. There you go. That was the fun part about it. Were you upset that you weren't shown throwing a pass in that trailer? Would you have rather been at least completing a ball than handing it off?
It would have been really cool to have the fourth down big fade ball completion over on the left side that set us up for that game-winning field goal. That would have been pretty cool to have. But I'm not going to get too greedy because seeing our team number one and then number two myself in the game right there was a very, very crazy feeling, and so I'm not going to get too picky with it.
Yeah, think about it. A 4.5-minute trailer, and they could have done any team, any player, anybody, and then all of a sudden they go to just showing, and it was so interesting. I was like trying to think. I'm like, how more random could it get than UTEP and Sam Houston State?
That's I want to almost ask the game developers or who decided to, make the trailer because, I mean, I don't know if they are from El Paso, they like El Paso, whatever it may be, there's got to be something there because, there's 34 FBS teams, somewhere right around there. It's always changing. But, I mean, there was 20-ish teams, maybe even a little less than that in the trailer, and UTEP got 2 clips in it, and so that's pretty important right there.
When do you get your copy of the game? Do you know yet?
No, I don't know yet. I've tried to fill out all information through the app that they had us fill out, which was called Compass NIL. I don't know exactly when, the payment that they said they were going to give us or how they're going to give us a copy of the game. I'm sure it'll probably be through a code or a downloadable thing one way or another, but I don't know, kind of a weird situation. I don't know how it's going to happen.
Okay, serious question. If you had to pick, what would you rather have first? The NIL payment from them or the game itself? What would you choose?
The game itself. The payment can wait later. I think they said they're going to give us $600 every player that's in it.
Yeah,
that can wait. You know what I mean? It'll come down the line at some point. That's fine. That's just a little bonus fun right there. But to have the game before everybody and have that for free and be able to start playing it or have people over and play as each other, I mean, that's crazy.
I feel like if you polled every player in college football, I bet you 90% of them would say, we'll take the game before we take the $600.
100%. 100%. I'm thinking about it right now. I want to play with teammates and things like that. I'm also thinking, about one of my best friends, Jake McNamara, who is now at New Mexico State as a rival school. I cannot wait for him to come down one of these weekends and us just absolutely get after each other on that game, playing as each other and playing as UTEP and New Mexico State in the Battle of I-10 before we actually get to go do it Thanksgiving week.
Are you able to do that? Could you actually have a setup where you just have like a one-off where you're UTEP, he's New Mexico State, you each have a controller, and you each play as yourselves and as your school, or do you have to build that up in like a dynasty mode?
No, I would think that is something that you could do off of an exhibition mode right away because those are going to be the rosters that are set, and as long as you can make substitutions or put people in however you'd like, see fit, as long as people are in the game, I don't see why that would be something you could do right away.
That's pretty cool. And that's the thing. I wonder if Jake's going to find himself in how updated is the game.
Right.
Will he be on that roster, or do you think he could still be on the UTEP roster?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Steve, because what if Marcus Bellin's still there and you got some of the old guys still there? I mean, what's the cutoff date, Cade? We don't really know what that is right there.
That's what I was thinking, and like I said, there's been a lot of really great things that have continued to come out about this game. Every time they make a release, it's always positive. They're not releasing things where people are like, oh, no, this is the same or this isn't different. I don't know if it's going to be good enough. No, it's all been really, really positive. However, I've always thought about that exact thing, Adrian, the rosters and stuff like that, and maybe some more prominent players that aren't nationally recognized, like myself. Obviously, they have, certain things about, star players like Quinn Ewers and Travis Hunter. They're in their exact, outfits, and the way they wore their uniforms is exactly how it is in the game. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily have any of that. Are they taking pictures from it? Are they going to have my face look anything like myself? That kind of thing. Those are all questions that are going to be answered soon, but that's a really good question about the cutoff date. I almost feel like the coaches or somebody from the NCAA is going to have some type of official roster that's sent in earlier than when you would normally have to make a roster because they actually have to generate people off of that. I don't know. There's so much that goes into it, but I think I've learned at this point to not doubt EA.
I wouldn't doubt EA either. I think that's great. What are you thinking, Albert? I could see you chopping at the bit. What do you have?
Kate, are you glad that they didn't throw up your little picture or your little rating? Because sometimes they'll do that on the corner of your screen, and sometimes they butcher the faces, or they could have given you a low rating. Are you glad they didn't throw your rating up?
There was I saw some clips of that of other people who had their face up there, and they're like, man, that does not look like me, or dang, my overall is terrible. Maybe it saved me a little bit of face at the beginning, and maybe it didn't. I don't know. But maybe it would have been cool to see it in general. The overall is going to be what it is. We're going to rock with it no matter what comes out. So I could have gone either way with that, but maybe it saves me a little bit of face at the beginning if I don't have to hear people being like, oh, no, your overall is not good.
I'm assuming they just grab your face right off the website that that each team has, right?
That's what I would assume. For guys' photos that were, I think I saw a clip of somebody. I can't remember what team it was, but I don't think it was a very well-known player by any means. But they had his roster photo right there along with his overall and name, and it looked like something they had taken off of the website or something like that in order to put a name with a face.
Well, good. Well, listen, I'm excited for you when that comes out. Hopefully you guys get it this month. It'd be great if you got it before July when the game actually comes out. Although maybe they want to make it a week out, days out, so they don't give the game to everybody so early that everything starts to really leak before the regular public can buy it.
It's very standard for video. I've played video games my whole life, and admittedly, I haven't played a ton of sports video games consistently. I was always, a shooting game or something like that. But it is very common in video games to do you get it 4 days early or a week early or something like that. And once you get beyond that, then a lot of stuff already gets leaked, and then some anticipation for the game might dissipate before release date.
All right, as far as the release date for college football 25, let me see if I can get that exact date. July 19th. So July 19th, so maybe you'll get it on the 14th or 15th and have 4 or 5 days head start to play. That'd be great.
That would be awesome. And then I think it's good. I think the entire team should ask Coach Walden for considerable time off during those days so that we could all just go play the video game instead.
I think he'll probably be the first one trying to play with you guys and see how he can do too. That'd be great.
It's probably right. He's probably already playing. He's probably already got some way to already play the game.
Does UTEP have a player's lounge with a very large television and a PS5 so that the university and the players could actually go and play some of those games?
No, we don't. But I will say this. As part of the locker room upgrades, we have been told that there are TVs in there at some point. So I am sure that we are going to make sure in some way, shape, or form, when you have 100 football players with a video game that has the majority of them in it, we're going to make sure to find a way to have that inside.
Do we know when the locker room upgrades are supposed to be complete by?
No, I don't. I just know that it's underway right now. We can see that they've put up some walls and are doing some construction, but you can't really see too much into there. So I just know I see the workers in there every day, and I hope they're making good progress.
What did you think of the proposed Sun Bowl upgrades?
Here's the thing. Actually, I did not. I knew that there were Sun Bowl upgrades, but I have not heard about what exactly they are. So I'm excited to talk about that. I did not get to hear the show where you guys had spoken about that previously, and I know we have Athletic Director Jim Center coming in, so I'm really excited to kind of see exactly what those are.
Okay, even though you're not taking summer school right now, are you?
No, I'm not.
Good, you have reading material. There you go. That's
wonderful.
The Sun Bowl uplift. You can study that up for the next 40 minutes, just like you're in class, and by the time Jim Center shows up at 5 o'clock, you'll be well read on the subject, and you'll know everything that's going on.
They should do little, informational things like this for us players when we come back. Because, truthfully, I understand I'm a player here and probably should, see this prior to right now. But they don't tell us these things, informally.
Well, you got enough to worry about right now.
It's true.
You guys got to go prepare and try to, win some football games and not worry about the Sun Bowl uplift. But I get what you're saying. You like to be in the know.
I do.
So you could find out what's going on.
I do. I actually, over the course of being on this show, I've enjoyed all the topics that we've talked about in El Paso as far as construction and projects and things like that, because people who have lived here their entire lives, I feel like just have a natural, awareness about that stuff. That's, maybe it's where they get their news from, how they hear it. People who are not from here don't hear those things all the time. So I've really enjoyed, getting to hear a lot of those different sides of the story as somebody who has only lived here for about a year and a half.
Fantastic. Enjoy that. We'll come back. We're going to talk to the A team. Angela will be with us with Andy, and we'll talk a little bit about the Chihuahuas' upcoming homestand. We'll do that. Cage with us all show long. With you until 6:30 as we go to Charlie 1. Let's get our first traffic update of the afternoon.
Here at El Paso Metroplex, first of all, we have a crash here, I-10 East at Red, This one, blocking the right lane where there's only two available, but you block that right lane now. In the back to Trans Mountain, so you're in a lot of bumper-to-bumper traffic all the way from Trans Mountain all the way to Red. On the eastbound lanes, you're just stop and go. You're bumper-to-bumper there. In the south central area, Dalton, Alameda, we have a crash there. Far east side, 12,800 Edgemere on a crash. They're doing some construction work. I-10 West and Executive, take away that right lane there. Border Highway eastbound lanes at Escalante, take away the right lane there. Leo's Restaurant, 7520 Remcon. Congratulations, grads. Celebrate that special occasion at Leo's Restaurant. A lot of graduations tonight, so go on over to Leo's Restaurant and celebrate with the chile con queso steak or chicken breast. Lautas, fajitas, gorditas, much more there on the menu. Leo's Restaurant, 7520 Remcon. Charlie 1600 ESPN El Paso.
Back here on Sports Talk, 22 past the hour. Expecting the A-team any minute. In fact, Alberto is manning the entry area. As soon as Angela and Andy arrive, he's be
like our security.
He is. I'll say this about Alberto. He is really turning into the jack of all trades. Earlier today there was a press conference for Ring Wars 12 coming in July to the Coliseum. And as I'm parking, there he is. I'm like, wow. He just randomly shows up to everything. I mean, I don't even know how he even got the invite, but he was there with me, the only other one from the station, introducing him to people, and he's meeting the fighters and other people. I'm like, Alberto is really trying to get, his hands wet in everything.
I love it. I love the initiative. I love just throwing himself out there. I mean, one day I saw him work in the front, receptionist area. And the other day he was co-hosting on the Buzz Adams Morning Show. And then the other day he's, hosting here on our show. So it's like he's doing it all here.
He truthfully is everywhere. Like, I don't understand it. It's so wild. Like, I keep seeing him. I'm like, I did a double take. I looked, huh? Well, I mean, it's hard to miss. He's in a soccer jersey in the middle of the afternoon. He's wearing his Juarez Indios jersey, so you knew it was Alberto. But, yeah, I love I haven't seen an initiative like this in a while. And then, remember, he doesn't get paid for any of this. Like,
no.
This is, I don't think I've ever seen anybody that in 30 years who works for free as much as Alberto does. It's fascinating.
So I will also say this. I mean, and we should also clip this because he likes to hear stuff like this, and we don't talk enough about him. But he will do the overnights. Like, that's what he gets paid for. Wow. That's his actual paid job here at this radio station, is doing some of the overnights. So he does them like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, those kind of days.
Like one day, Glenn was doing a remote on the Q, Far East, and he forgot the prizes, and we're already on the air. So Kevin calls me and says, hey, could somebody run the prizes out to Glenn? Before I could even open my mouth, Alberto was out the door with the prizes. And he did it. He ran, and it came back in like an hour. And Kevin even said, I'll give him an extra couple of hours on his timesheet to do this, which is very nice. But that's the kind of guy Alberto is. He's always just stepping up for everything. Cage, you got to appreciate that, don't you?
You have to appreciate any member of any team that acts like that.
Yeah.
You want somebody that's going to be dependable, accountable, and goes above and beyond, and you just said Alberto does all those things.
Does everything.
Cade missed the emergence of Alberto. You missed the shows where he went crazy and talked about like his relationships and all this stuff.
Steve and I had some dialogue about this while I was gone and said that some of the shows have been great, and then I don't even remember which one of you said like the emergence of Alberto has happened, where he has come out and he has been very vocal about some things. I would have loved to have been here for that.
Man, you would have, especially when he was like, really spilling it about some of the dates he's been on and where he takes first dates and how, after a workout, the girl he was with asked for some water and he didn't want to buy it at the gym, so he went to like a convenience store. Good stuff.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
ESPN Radio, baby, let's go.
You got to listen to some of those older podcasts, so you could just be just up to speed with Alberto. There's some really good stuff.
No, absolutely. You guys just let me know which episode it was, and it'll be played tonight. I promise you.
I'll work on that. Andy Imfeld's with us, one half the A team right here.
How we doing, guys?
We're doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing good.
Good.
Yeah, running around.
Busy.
Man, there was a little bit of traffic on the way here, so sorry I'm a couple minutes late.
No, you're fine. I didn't even know if Angie's coming right now, or are you just going to be filling in for it today?
No, just me today. She's working away.
She's busy.
Yeah, we're starting 6 tonight, so a lot to be done.
Vegas, baby, Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas, and we got some familiar faces coming. If you would remember Bronzewell Patrick, former pitching coach for the Chihuahuas, he's now a pitching coach for the Aviators. So
that's great.
Excited to catch up with him. Haven't gone down there yet, but I'm sure we'll see him during pregame.
Oh, was it hot enough for you this afternoon? Actually, this is the cool day. It was 96.
It felt fine, actually. Yeah, not too bad. So
It's not. There was a ton of traffic today, though, everywhere.
yeah, I think it's going to get a little hotter during the week, but tonight looks like it's going to be a good night for baseball.
Hey, at least you have no more day games.
That's right. Yeah,
Perfect time.
6:35 games all the way through, except for Sunday, which is a 6:05.
Hey, by the way, last homestand I went on Tuesday, and I ate those $3 tacos.
Talk to me.
Okay, first off, what a line. I could not believe how many people were in line for the tacos because they're at the main concession stand. Now, I'll say this. They were crispy, they were hot, and they were drenched in jalapeno crema. So what else could you possibly want as far as those $3 tacos? And I ended up getting a cup of 4 for
There you go.
$6 but I saw people that had 8, 12, they were just stocking up on those tacos.
Yeah, and folks, gates open at 5:30 tonight, and those specials are available for 2.5 hours after gates. So you can go right at 5:30, get your fill, then go back in line, get some more. So 8 o'clock tonight is when those specials will end.
So take advantage while you have the chance. That's what you're saying.
Get there early, folks. It's a good deal, great food, and enjoy.
And by the way, $3 select canned beer. When I was there, it was Michelob Ultra.
I think they rotate it. I'm not exactly sure what it is tonight. But yeah, Michelob Ultra could be one of those options.
Yes, it's nice. I felt like I was drinking bottled water at the ball game. It was perfect.
Keep you hydrated.
Although
Steve.
it was canned. It was canned water is what I was drinking. So, but yes, it worked out. It worked out great. So that's all going on at the ballpark tonight. In fact, tonight, 6:35 first pitch. It's also savings for those who served, presented by AT&T.
Yeah, that's right. Our GovX special. So any first responder, military veteran, government official can go onto GovX. It's a resource for those folks, and type in your government email, and you get 25% off your tickets.
Seniors eat free tomorrow at 6:35.
Yeah, fans 16 up. Head on over to the promotions booth. We got those vouchers available. Come on over. Yeah, free hot dog meal for seniors 60 and up.
Thursday's a crazy night at the ballpark. You got a million things going on. It's Margaritas night, teacher appreciation night. You got that 6-4-3 double play going by Speaking Rock. A lot happening.
Yeah, we want our teachers to come out and celebrate. We know it's the end of the school year, folks, and our friends at GECU are hooking us up with 4 $200 gift cards that we're going to randomly give away to teachers. All they have to do is go to the promotions booth, show their school ID, and then they'll scan a QR code. And we're randomly calling out teachers' names all night long for those $200 gift cards and a bunch of different other prizes.
Very nice. Friday night is Friar Friday. You got Fetch the Fun Friday from KISS FM. And there's a tank top giveaway at the ballpark.
Yeah, we got a lot of great feedback last season from that tank top. It was the first time we ever gave away a tank top. And this one actually is what the players are looking forward to the most. It's a very cool black tank top with the serape trim on the sleeves, featuring the Howling Dog logo and a frocket on the front.
A frocket.
A frocket.
What is a frocket?
Front pocket.
It's a front pocket.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't speak. I'm not as hip as the two of you. A frocket. Is there any other kind of merging combinations we could talk about as well?
A front. Well, wait. The only thing I knew that was from a frunk, like a front trunk in a car. A frunk.
Oh yeah,
it's okay. A frunk.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. Like if the engine's not in the front, frunk.
So if I'm talking about my back pocket, am I talking about my bucket?
No, I think you're talking about your back pocket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
obviously.
Obviously.
Well, you're saying a frocket.
Well, a frocket's a frocket, but your back pocket's just your back pocket. Yeah.
Okay.
And then if it's your pocket, it's the one in the front on your pants.
Would the side be a socket?
There is no side pocket.
A socket's in a wall. You plug in electric.
That type of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Just double checking with the two of you. Sounds good. But are the front pockets in a tank top pretty popular these days?
Yeah, it seems like it's a pretty popular thing. We've seen it all over, and it's got a cool trim on top of it. So it's Think of this logo, Steve. Yeah. This is a pocket, but on top there's more Zarape trim.
Oh, very nice.
It's a stylish piece for sure.
First 1,500 fans Friday night get their shot at that.
That's right. We have mediums and extra larges available while supplies last. Gates open at 5:30, so get there early for your chance to get one.
That's perfect. That'll work out good. See that, Cade? Maybe you should head to the ballpark Friday. You missed out on the margarita jersey, so now you can go get yourself a frocket with that.
Well, thanks to the awesome starting 9 deal that I actually got.
Boom, baby. Let's go.
Yep. Well, shout out Dad. He's listening right now. That was part of the birthday gift was he got the starting 9. So I have 9 tickets and since I've been gone on vacation, haven't used any of them yet. So I'm not sure exactly which ones I'm going to go to, but I will be able to get to at least, 9, or I'll bring some people with me and go to a couple games this year, and it's going to be really cool. I want to.
Heck yeah.
My goal is to commit and go early and get one of the prizes that come out, take advantage of the promos. It was so cool. My family went to one of the games when they were out here for my graduation, which was around May 10th, I believe it was, 9th or 10th, and we had such a great time. I mean, it was awesome. Brother and I got matching hats, loved it. I got myself a little Army Green Chihuahuas hat, which is cool, and we had such a great time at the game. They're the most fun ever.
Yeah, those starting 9 plans are such a deal. Really, really good value. So anyone interested in that small season seat package, that's a good start. It's a
great start. I agree. All right, 32 past. We'll come back. We'll talk about the weekend. There's a special jersey that's going to be happening and a bobblehead that goes along with it. We'll explain the details next with Andy Imfeld and Chihuahuas baseball. But first, let's go to Charlie. Let's go to Michael Plundo.
Sports Studio. Here's Steve Kaplowitz and Adrian Broadus.
All right, this should be a fun hour. Welcome back, everybody, as we continue here on the show. Cade McConnell is back. He is sitting in with us all show today till 6:30. Welcome back, by the way. Good to see you. You've got the California tan.
That's right. It was sunny in California, and it's been sunny here, but it was 75 with a nice breeze in California. It's a bit warmer here now, Steve.
Did you spend time on the beach?
I did. I tried to go down to the bay as much as I could and the beach right down the street from my house, and it was wonderful. But I will say it doesn't really get hot down where I live in Long Beach until July, I would say. June is we get the June gloom, and we get the overcast a little bit during the summer for a lot of midday, but later in the afternoons and then getting into July, it's perfect.
Good. So you got out of there just in time is what you're telling me. That's pretty good.
Just in time to come for the Sun City heat, baby.
Yes, that's right. You're back and it's 100 degrees. It's perfect, right? It greeted you just like you were hoping for.
That's
I'm
right.
Sure. We've got a great hour lined up for us. Speaking of UTEP, we have Jim Center, Director of Athletics, who is with us back for another go-round. And he has brought another man that I've had a chance to know for many, many years. Jorge Vazquez has been with UTEP Special Events for as long as I can remember. I mean, the question is, has he been at UTEP Special Events longer than I've been at the radio station? Let's find out. What year did you start at UTEP?
Well, thank you for having us, first of all.
You're bad.
And I've been there since 1999.
Oh,
How about you?
I have you beat. 1995.
Oh, yeah, you win.
Barely. Jim, the point is, we've both been at these different places a very long time, haven't we?
You have, and I defer. Any tough questions regarding historical perspective, I'm going to defer to both of you.
We're dinosaurs, yes.
That's exactly right. But the thing is, we love our jobs, we love where we work, and that's why we've been here all these years, right?
Amen, absolutely.
Very nice. Well, listen, it's great to have the two of you here. Sun Bowl Uplift is why we have you here. About a week and a half ago, we were at the press conference that Dr. Heather Wilson was able to conduct for us on campus. And now, both Jorge, Jim, we get you here to kind of talk a little bit about this because of the implications it can have for athletics, for concerts, entertainment, and any of the other uses that really the opportunity for the Sun Bowl Uplift will have a chance to benefit, thousands upon thousands of El Pasoans.
Yeah, Steve, this is really an exciting time. It really is. And, we have been working as a leadership team with Dr. Wilson, talking about and visiting with the folks who will ultimately have the say, which are the county commissioners, and out of respect to them in the job that they do, trying to vet and figure out if this was even viable, right? And so after a series of meetings with each of the county commissioners, we met with almost every one of them, I believe, including maybe one, and we continued to have great dialogue, great feedback, suggestions, and getting their perspective on what this might look like. And so we started out with this idea. what is the art of the possible? How big could this be? What should it look like? What could it look like? And so we have a great big vision that someday may come to fruition. But as we continue to do the analysis and look at all the things that we need to look at to evaluate it, we got to the place where, okay, we feel comfortable in with their permission, we decided to go out public with it and say we'd like to be part of the conversation.
This is a 61-year-old facility that, other than adding a second level years later, really has not had much done to it until the West Side renovation that came around COVID. So you think about it and you realize that, a lot of these structural improvements have never happened, and yet this stadium, which is hosting not only UTEP but the Sun Bowl and concerts and other events when happen, is virtually unchanged from a structural standpoint from when it first opened in 1963, guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Sun Bowl Stadium is such an iconic facility that what we're trying to do is definitely what you just said, right? We're trying to transform the experience that the people that come to the facility to either for a concert or an athletic event, and we're at a critical point of the life of the facility where we think it's time to take it to the next level.
Yes, and I've seen pictures of the concrete inside the stadium, and obviously, structurally, there are some things that need to happen sooner rather than later. But also from the electrical standpoint, a lot of things have not been updated to where they need to be to potentially put it on pace with other facilities of its same size and stature. Correct, Jorge?
Correct. So part of what we're trying to do is we're trying to put amenities into the facility that will attract more clients because we want to utilize that facility a lot more. It's one of the largest facilities in the region. You won't find a concert venue, an event venue like ours in Miles. So what we're trying to do is bring in those amenities such as the updated electrical components that are needed to power up those massive productions that are touring the country. We're trying to have a drivable material that will cover, like I call it, Jim's turf, so he doesn't yell at me that something happened to it. And we're really trying to, the back of house, what we call it in our industry, we're trying to make it such that people can come in, major productions can come in and benefit from that turnkey type of building that will truly make us a must-stop in the region.
Now, you talk to promoters all over the country. I'm sure you talk to Live Nation a lot and other big acts and big promoters. Has the word around, as you've tried to get as many shows to the Sun Bowl as you possibly can, have they told you that if the venue gets updated and improved, it will really increase your chances to get some of the bigger stadium shows that bypass El Paso on an annual basis?
I've been doing this job for 24 years. I've been in the industry for 24 years, and I can tell you I've seen productions grow from 7 trucks to more than 27 trucks per show. The industry is tending larger, right? The events are more complex. The theatrics are more elaborate. And promoters, and I agree, and yes, we've had conversations with all the major players of the game. Yeah. They agree, this would be a game changer.
Okay, and that's the most important thing. You mentioned the cover, Jim. That's another big thing. To rent a cover just to protect the turf, it's $300,000 to rent. So this would be an opportunity to purchase something like that so you don't have to rent out the $300,000 cover every show. Power for a diesel generator to handle what needs to be done, $90,000. And you start to think about that, and then you add in the kitchen that needs to be used to help serve all the people and the staff. Next thing you know, that's another $40,000. You're $420,000 in the hole before it even starts up.
Well, Steve, let me just say this. When I listen to you talk about all the things that this uplift would encompass and include, what I think about is when we go out and we try to recruit student athletes to UTEP, and we constantly, every university in America is constantly upgrading their facilities. Why? Because the people we're trying to recruit to come here are looking for the best experience, right? And, we have obviously our starting quarterback in here. And when he was being recruited, he could tell you he looked at everybody's campus and all the different people recruited him. And it wasn't just one thing. It's the culmination of all the different offerings, everything from your scholarship to the coaching to the style of play to the apparel to the stadium to the locker room to the weight room. It's all these things. And what we're really saying is if we want to recruit the biggest shows in the country to come here so we can use the Sun Bowl and maximize its capacity and its revenue generating opportunity for El Paso and the quality of life here, we've got to invest in our facilities. And we've spent nearly $20 million since I've been here in 7 years, but frankly, it's not enough. And we've done that almost all with private money and donations from generous individuals. But at the end of the day, that's not going to be enough to address a lot of the infrastructure things that we need to do from 60 years of buildup. Yeah.
Jim, a follow-up on that one. Dr. Heather Wilson, she called it one of the most underused facilities because outside of football, like you're detailing, not a lot of other opportunities for special events. And Jorge, I'm sure you can elaborate as well on this, but in your perspective, Jim, for that enhancement of, quality of life here in El Paso for some of these students and student athletes, that would just enhance it right there for adding more of these A-list acts at the Sun Bowl.
Well, there's no question whether you come to the Sun Bowl for the Sun Bowl game, 6 home football games for UTEP, monster truck show, or the Coronado Franklin High School football game, whatever it is, you use our concessions, we use our restrooms, you use our parking. The Wi-Fi in the stadium, it just goes on and on and on. All those are affecting the experience of the end user, right? And so those are the people that are in the stands. And then there's the end users that are on the field, right? So in this case, it may be our quarterback and his teammates in the locker rooms in the south end of the stadium, right? Or it may be, one of our most recent acts, Motley Crue and Def Leppard, which I went to, and it was awesome, right? Or RDB. So we're serving multiple constituencies with the use of the facility from all the way from the ground up to the top up. And then there's all the back of the house things like Jorge was mentioning when you just think about security and the things that have got to be done to set up a show. We have the same thing for football games. All these people have got to do all these things to pull off a show, and the infrastructure matters if it's going to be done right and done safely and maximized.
Jorge, you want to add to that?
Yeah. Also, it's important for people to know that the university has spent a lot of time and effort to gather the A team for this type of job. I'm very proud to say that my special events team is the best that it's ever been. Like I said, over 24 years of career allow me to say that we have the ability to bring in the major shows, to produce high-quality acts, and we have the business model that is being proven. We've done it at the Don Haskins Center. We've grown the volume exponentially. And we believe we can do that in the Sun Bowl Stadium, but we definitely need to bring that facility up to speed.
All right. We are quarter past right now. We want to give our listeners an opportunity to get into the show. There's 3 ways to do it. You can either call into the program at 505-6009, 505-6009. You can also get in on Twitter and X at 600ESPN El Paso or our free mobile app. So a lot of ways to be part of the program. We've got lines ringing in. We'll get questions asked on Twitter and X as well. More in a moment as the Sun Bowl uplift. Our focus here in hour number 2. Let's go to Charlie 1 first to get this traffic update. All right, welcome back. We have 2 calls to get to, 20 past the hour as we continue. Jim Center is here. Jorge Vazquez is here. We're talking about the Sun Bowl uplift. This is the proposal to uplift the Sun Bowl, which in turn could bring more events here, more jobs, economic growth, potentially 600-plus new jobs, more A-list events that currently pass on El Paso coming through the city. And all this stems from a Hunt Institute study. And, Jim, I guess we could talk about that. The Hunt Institute put this together, and they were really the ones that did the research to try to see what impact this could have on the entire project?
You bet, Steve. Well, the Hunt Institute is globally recognized and nationally recognized as a forward-thinking group and can run the numbers on virtually anything if you come to them and ask them for their help, of which we did, and they did a wonderful job. When we sat down and we figured out, well, what do we think is realistic in terms of the possibility of bringing more acts to El Paso? And I think it's easy when we say acts, the first thing you think about is a concert, and I'll defer to Jorge about the multiplicity of different things that are the art of the possible, because it's more than just concerts, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, they looked at this, and to just jump on and piggyback what you just got done saying, is their economic forecast is that if we were to hold just a minimum of 8 A-list type of acts in the Sun Bowl each year, which is not a huge number, we could generate $2 billion in economic impact, over $2 billion, over $82 million in tax revenue that would directly come back to El Paso, right? In 600 jobs. I mean, it's almost like it's a no-brainer for $99 million of a commitment from our community to generate, and it would basically pay for itself over the 30-year life of the bond. It's exciting. It really is.
And it's important to note that the original plan when it was drafted called for over $200 million, but then you scaled it down to decide what is the most essential things that really need to be done in order to change the landscape of the stadium. And that's where the $200 million project turned into $99 million, because you decided, okay, let's just go with what we know we really need to get done. That's the utmost importance.
No, that's exactly right. In what it comes down to, we were talking before we got on the air about we're going to look at, when the time comes, if this bond were to pass and the voters pass it, we will then really, really dig in. That's when the really, really hard work will come in, because we're going to try to squeeze every single drop of value out of every single dollar that is spent, right? And so we'll look at everything. You and I were talking about, LED lights in the stadium. We'll look at every single thing that stadium possesses and evaluate where we would spend the money to get the maximum value to attract the type of acts that we want and need, and that will have the greatest value to every single person, both those on the field, the acts, the players, right, the two visiting teams in the Sun Bowl, to our constituents that are coming from El Paso and all over the country to come watch these acts. So we're going to get the maximum value. So we can't tell you exactly every single thing, but we just know it will be a huge improvement over what we have today.
All right.
Jim, I want to ask you, we just talked about this off air, but is it, has there been precedent of this with a university working with a governmental entity to make something like this accomplished?
Yeah, there are, Adrian. That's an excellent question. And I can't. The most recent one that I can think of right now is the University of Texas at San Antonio just recently did something. I don't know if it was the city or the county of San Antonio where they got a significant gift to help build a facility that athletics is using. Right, so it happens all the time. I just can't pull up any right off the top of my head, but that is probably a good little research project for a good summer intern that you guys might have.
I wonder who you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly, by the name of Cade McConnell.
I'm on it.
But I'm sure that there's numerous ones over the last 20 years that we could point toward and say this is not new or unique. In fact, it's probably a best practice to try to address things that can really make a difference in the respective communities.
All right, let's take some phone calls. We got 2 to get to right now. 505-6009. One line is currently open. We'll begin with Enrique, who joins us. Enrique, you're on with Jim Center and Jorge Vazquez from UTEP. Thanks for the call.
Hey, well, thanks for taking my call, and hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
My question to you guys is: you've been mentioning that if this was to go through, that you guys have been talking to the big boys. I think it'd be a great opportunity, and how likely would it be that El Paso, being the home of the late, great Eddie Guerrero, to not just get an event here in El Paso like in the Don Haskins. I'm talking a taped, pay-per-view event in El Paso to show the natural beauty, the ambiance that the Sun Bowl offers, and, hey, what a great segue to show into the new statue of Eddie Guerrero.
Well, thank you for the call. This is Jorge Vazquez, and I've said many times before, one of our goals as part of what we do in the university is to bring more and better events. I was mentioning earlier that We are a full production house, meaning we have the staff to produce all kinds of events. So I always take a look at every opportunity and evaluate the feasibility of it. And if it's something that makes sense for all parties involved, I'm all for it.
Yeah, Enrique, I was just thinking, first of all, thanks for your call and sharing your thoughts there. You know what? I think the beauty of this thing is, first of all, Jorge has done an amazing job of growing the business, portfolio in the Don Haskins Center. And I mean, I've heard the number. Like we've gone from maybe a dozen or so events, thereabouts, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way to over 30 in a year, right? I mean, so that's masterful and really cool. I see those continuing to go, and now we have this opportunity to maximize the use of the Sun Bowl Stadium because it's underutilized. We all know it, we all see it and realize it. But then the question is, how do you get that done, right? And to Enrique's point, there's so many different opportunities. I don't know, since I've been here, I don't know how many times somebody has said, is there a chance we'll ever get the Cowboys back to play a game here like they did, right? I mean, that's probably over 20 years now, right? I'm looking at the two guys that have been around a long time. But everybody says, that was sold out. It was crazy. Well, so the Dallas Cowboys aren't going to come to a third-rate venue. Okay, and something that doesn't provide a professional football team with the amenities that they need, everything from concessions to restrooms to the back of house, locker rooms, video production, all those kinds of things are part of what they do, and it's how they're going to present their band. I'm not saying the Cowboys are coming here. I think it would be cool, but that's the kind of opportunities we'll have that probably have been eroding over time with the lack of amenities. So it's really exciting, Enrique, and thanks for your question, because I think I tell people all over America, El Paso is America's best-kept secret. People have no idea the quality of life, the quality of people, the quality of the weather, the quality of this university, and this community as a whole. It is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely right. And by the way, Enrique is a huge wrestling fan, as you could tell. So you deal, Jorge, with WWE on a regular basis, and I'm sure that question's been posed because you've had the house shows at the Haskins Center forever, but there's never been a huge-scale show out at the Sun Bowl. If you do something like this, it at least puts you in the conversation for something like that.
Oh, my God, 100%. Being able to tell the decision makers of all the major players when it comes to the entertainment arena, it'll not only put us in the map in a different scale, but also will open the doors for them to take a look at us in a whole different way. This is, like I've said many times, it's a transformational change what we're proposing. By having all these amenities added to the Sun Bowl Stadium, we truly believe we are going to have an outpour of eyes on us. And that's what we need, because that's where the opportunities come from.
Absolutely. Let's keep moving. Dave is next up. He joins us on Sports Talk, 505-6009. Dave, thanks for the call. Again, you're on with Jim Center and Jorge Vazquez from UTEP.
Gentlemen, Mr. Vazquez, Centers, thank you for all your hard work. We are seeing the fruits of what you're all doing. And Cap, long-time listener, first-time caller. I've been listening to your, this subject for about a week now. And I'm excited. I truly am excited. What to bring to the city. We can showcase our beautiful stadium, bring in some jobs, bring in some money from all over the region that people will come over and enjoy the Sun Bowl, everything it has to offer. But I hate to be a Dave Downer. I am on a community outreach team. I do work with the community, a lot of the needs that are needed out there. And to me, it's very difficult to see how this community can afford supporting this bond. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot. I'm all for it once again. I think it's a wonderful thing. But just going out and meeting with the community, it's very difficult. A lot of these people, especially seniors, are on a controlled budget where they have to make decisions about getting, I know it sounds repulsive and stuff, but that they have to choose between their food or the medication. A lot of people can't afford the rents that are going up. Property values are going up, even though the tax rate isn't going up, but the property values is causing a lot of issues. We have a couple of school districts that were not very good with money. So it seems like every 2-3 years they come up with a bond themselves requesting $200 million. And the taxpayer has to foot the bill for all these things. And like I said, I'm for it. I'm tired of going to the Pan Am Center, seeing the shows over there. I want to stay here. But another thing that came up during a conversation with coworkers is that our beautiful stadium, the Southwest Stadium for the Chihuahuas, wonderful venue, when it was being built, they said they were going to have concerts there and a lot of other programs that people could enjoy. And I love the stadium. I go out there. But that just really hasn't happened. It's a lot of baseball. It's a lot of soccer. But when those sports events are done, very, very few other events are taking place in such a wonderful area. So I wish it would pass. I would like you to address the situations I just brought up because I think it's going to be difficult. I hope it does pass, but it's, I mean, the taxpayer, people that I talk to, especially being an outreach person, people just, it's very hard for them to support this because of the financial situations.
Appreciate you, Dave. Thanks for the phone call. In fact, we're going to give Jorge and Jim a chance to address your comments that you mentioned in just a moment, but we are at the bottom of the hour. Let's go right now over to Michael. Let's get a quick Sports Center update. We'll come right back, and we'll get that question answered and many more as we continue here talking about the Sun Bowl uplift on 600 ESPN El Paso. Our director of athletics. You guys just heard Dave's comments. Give you a chance to talk a little bit about what he had a chance to say earlier on.
Well, so Dave, first of all, thanks for your call and your comments in the feedback that you seem to have solicited and received from people in the community doesn't surprise me. I think one of the challenges we have in launching the Sun Bowl uplift is to try to help educate our citizenry on the value of doing this. This Sun Bowl Stadium is of public value to El Paso and our community. When good things happen there, when we make investments there, it benefits our entire community. I don't know all the different things that may be on a ballot when the time comes in November. But I do know this, the ability to generate over $82 million in tax revenue is pretty significant. Basically, the $99 million investment in UTEP's Sun Bowl Stadium is an investment in El Paso, just like any other investment that the community is going to consider and will probably be on a bond initiative. And when you think about the quality of life, the ability to bring acts here to enhance the quality of life and entertainment. When you hear somebody say that there'll be $2 billion worth of economic impact, it's hard to conceive for the average person. I know it is for me. But when I think about what happens when I go to a concert and when I buy gas, somebody comes to town, when I go out to eat with my wife and my kids and I spend money at the venue, I mean, there's a ripple effect to all of that is going to benefit our community and the people in our community, from every business to every single person. Now, to your point, Dave, with somebody on a fixed income, I think it's always challenging. I really do. I'm not in that place in my life, but someday I will be, and so I'm sensitive to that. We know that that the Hunt Institute, has helped us determine the economic value to our community, and we also know that basically the $99 million would be equal to 83 cents per $100,000 worth of house value. The average home in El Paso is about $200-some thousand, give or take, right? And so you're really talking about $20 a year in an increase in this tax that we're talking about if the Sun Bowl's on the ballot. And if the Sun Bowl, let's say, doesn't get on the ballot, most likely I think the bond is still going to be there. It's just a matter of whether or not the Sun Bowl's in the mix and being considered for this, or it's not. I think the biggest challenge for us is to get people to go out and share their thoughts, at utep.edu/sunbowl, and just click on the link there on how to vote and how to share your thoughts about this with the Bond Advisory Committee, who will then be advising the county commissioners, and or to call your county commissioner in their district that you live in and share with them what your thoughts are. Every single person's thoughts in their implication matters to our elected officials. And let me just say this. The more I learn about this whole process and what goes on, the more I respect our county commissioners and any elected official who has to make really, really tough decisions on what to move forward on behalf of our community. So I thank them.
Jorge, you want to add to that?
I mean, the only thing that I'd like to add is he mentioned, going to other places to see acts. I remember when that was the case, right? When you did have to go out of El Paso to see an arena show, and now we're blessed to have them here in the Don Haskins Center, right here in our backyard. We have the biggest and the most shows that we've ever had. So now our people from Las Cruces are coming here to see those shows. For us, the Sample Stadium project represents that opportunity to make that building, that highly underutilized building, into something that we know it can be, because we have done it even in the McGoffin Auditorium. It's become one of the comedy centrals of El Paso. We've had a huge success with comedy in McGoffin. So we know the Sample Stadium represents an opportunity for economic impact of the entire region, and the benefits that will come to us extend far beyond the walls of the stadium.
Yeah, no doubt. Also, I think it's important to note when Dave mentioned Southwest University Park not being utilized for concerts, they do have the Way Out West Fest for country music fans. That's usually in the fall. But, we haven't seen a ton of concerts because they're probably looking at their field being covered just like you, the costs for something like that. And it's also another interesting thing with the Northeast project potentially that they announced a couple of weeks back for the amphitheater out there by Cohen Stadium. If that gets built, that would be a little bigger than the ballpark. And then a lot of those outdoor shows that maybe are not big enough for the Sun Bowl, but big enough to go to another facility could then take advantage there of that outdoor amphitheater if, in fact, that does get built out by Cohen and Northeast.
Correct. That's a totally different spaces, right? I mean, the traffic that an amphitheater like that will bring in is designed to tour amphitheaters with a very strict timeline of the good months of the year, because it's an outdoor facility. And so is the Sample Stadium, but we are 46,000 seater for a concert. Depending on production, it's far greater than the capacity of that amphitheater. So I think we're talking about two different items.
No doubt about it. All right, 39 past as we continue here on Sports Talk. This came in from Leo. Jim, I'll direct this towards you. I wanted to ask Jim Center, Leo says, if it's possible to give us a gauge of how it's going, trying to get more people, alumni, and businesses to donate to athletics, how that's been going. Is it better than it's been or was, and does the future of donor money, large or small, look promising?
Wow, boy, there's a lot packed there. We could spend the next hour talking about athletic fundraising, Steve. And, Leo, what I would tell you is we're very, very optimistic about the future in all of our fundraising activities. But what I will tell you is we're seeing more and more fundraising activities diverted into different places. As an example, name, image, and likeness. And we now have two collectives at UTEP. One is the Gold Mine, the other is the Minor Collective. Those are collectives who receive money through membership subscriptions that in turn employ student athletes to do things and utilize their name, image, and likeness. There's an example. So our team and development folks are out actively talking to donors, trying to get them to help participate in collectives because we know it's a good thing for our student athletes and will help them. And unlike you might hear across America when young people are getting millions of dollars, we're really trying to help our student athletes just get a few thousand extra bucks, maybe for 8, 9, 10 months of the year to help them augment what their scholarship is worth and those kinds of things. And a lot of people don't understand when you say a scholarship, we have head count sports. That means that a student athlete, football, men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, they're a head count sport. They get room, board, books, fees, tuition, cost of attendance. But we have twice as many student athletes who don't get a full scholarship. They're on a third or a quarter, and so their aid might be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 out of a $25,000, $30,000 financial aid package. So they need to either work or find a way to monetize their name, image, and likeness just to pay for school.
Yeah.
That's not play money. That's like I got to pay for college money because I don't have any money to do it. So this is an example of where we see more and more avenues to give, where people are giving in different ways. And so I think donor fatigue is a real thing. You can only go back to the same person over and over so many times before they say, "Uncle, I don't have any more to give you." Right?
Exactly.
What we've got to do is we've got to engage more people and get them started in the annual giving life cycle, where they give their first gift, and then they give it twice, 3 times, 4 times. I want to give a shout out to Jake Logan. Morgan, our Vice President for Institutional Advancement. He started our annual, Picks Up Day of Giving. And so this year we had our second one, and I think the first year we raised around $300,000. This year it was about the same, maybe a little more. But the point here is that's about engaging a new group of people to give just something. Give what you can give. Do what your part is at whatever level that is, right? And so you do that over time, and the base grows. And then people who have been giving consistently give more. Now, we need to get better at that, and we need this community to step up and give more back to this institution. I think in some ways they've probably taken it for granted that, hey, it's a state school, I don't need to give. The truth is the difference between this school being good and great is donor philanthropy. And we need El Pasoans and we need alumni to engage and step up and give back and help the next generation of people that are coming through here, because without it, we will fall further behind the people who are giving back to their university.
Yeah, we're going to come back. We've got about a little more than 15 minutes left to go in the hour. If you want to weigh in, 505-6009. We'll wrap things up with our UTEP discussion here, 600 ESPN El Paso. Continue. We got less than a half an hour to go. Appreciate the UTEP Hour. Cade, what'd you get out of that conversation listening to Jim and Jorge?
Yeah, it was good. I had a lot I wanted to talk about too, but they had such valuable things to say. One of the things that I really hope that people in the El Paso community can understand too is that uplifts like this in the Sun Bowl or doing any type of advancements in this entire realm of talking are part of the pathway of making El Paso a better and a more elite community, in the sense of if you don't do things like this periodically as we go down the line, then you start falling by the wayside. You want to have event centers. You want to have places and things to go do. And so you have to do these type of things, every so often in order to make sure not only that you keep up, but hopefully try to stay ahead. Athletic Director Jim Center said it perfectly. He said, it doesn't matter if it is a recruit for football coming in and touring the Sun Bowl, or any other sport on campus, or a fan coming to see a concert. These things and the Marquee Center with 46,000 fans, putting and investing money and time into something like this is only going to benefit, and it's part of that roadmap of uplifting El Paso as a whole. And as long as the community can understand that and see that, I think that that's one of the most important things in moving forward with this project.
I agree with you, and I think there's going to be a lot said over the next few weeks as they try to get that on the ballot, and I'm interested to see what ends up happening when it's all said and done regarding that Sun Bowl uplift. All right, want to swing it over right now to baseball. We've got Chihuahuas less than a half an hour away. They're back home out at Southwest University Park. In fact, Chihuahua Adam Mazur was called up by the Padres. He's going to be making his major league debut tonight for the 22-year-old. Congratulations. Here to talk a little Padres with us in our final hour is John Conniff, our old pal from MadFriars.com. Well, John, welcome back. It's good to have you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's always fun to come on there in El Paso.
Well, I know you're a few months away from making your annual visit, but with the Mazur start tonight, the Tucupita Marcano lifetime suspension for gambling on baseball and his team, and the news that Jay Groom, a current and former Chihuahua, will be spending a year away from the game for being one of 4 players in the minors that have been found to be guilty of betting on baseball. Crazy enough, there's a lot of Chihuahuas news around over the last 24 hours.
I'm not sure. I Michael Kelly, I interviewed him. He's the guy with the A's. He was in the Padres system too. I don't know. I have to take a look. He might have made it to the Chihuahuas too, because he's been in a bunch of organizations. I know he's been in San Antonio, but yeah, I impressed a couple people. I said I've actually interviewed 3 of those guys before on various affiliate stops that I've been to. So yeah, it's really unfortunate. I think you and I were talking before the show. I just finished the Pete Rose biography, and this is a lot different what these guys did, but at the same token, I mean, I'm pretty positive that in spring training, and those guys have been fully told, like, you're not supposed to bet on baseball. I know it's easy to do on your phone. You can go to different spots, but if you bet on baseball, this and this is going to happen. So it's really sad for those guys. Michael
Kelly played in 10 games for the Chihuahuas in 2016, right, and then another 13 games in 2017. So you're right on the nose with that. And sadly enough, he's had a great year this year with Oakland. He's got a 2.59 ERA in the bullpen, was set to earn over $700,000 with the major league minimum, and now he's going to be out a year. What a break that is. Unbelievable.
And the sad thing, too, is this is a guy that has been out of affiliated baseball a couple different times. I mean, he was out there, playing in the Atlantic League, and I went on to a couple Atlantic League games. I did a few pieces. One former Padre, I don't think he was in El Paso, it was Matt Latos was out there, and that's a lot different than playing for the Chihuahuas when you're playing for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. So it's really sad about with Michael Kelly, and especially Marcano is, when he did all those bets, he was out for the season. He was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they had the author on one of the shows I go on regularly in San Diego, Jared Diamond from the Wall Street Journal, and he explained the distinction was the other guys were minor leaguers and they were betting on baseball. Tucupita Marcano, even though he was on the injured list, was with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was betting on Pirates games, among others, with Major League Baseball. And I think one stat I saw, which was amazing, he bet over $150,000, and I think he only won 4.3% of them too, which was just amazing.
Yeah, he was a terrible bettor. That's the worst part. Can you imagine where you bet that kind of money, you don't even win, you're awful at betting, and now you're out forever. I mean, it's just that's awful. And by the way, Michael Kelly apparently bet a total of $99 on 3 bets with FanDuel, and hard to believe that right there is going to end up
3 years ago.
3 years ago exactly. I don't know how it leaked all of a sudden, but it did.
Well, I'm pretty positive Tucupita wasn't married. If I bet $150,000, I think my wife would kill me before the police would. So,
yes,
it's just. I mean, I'm guessing he's probably going to end up playing in Mexico or one of the South American leagues. He was from Venezuela or Colombia. I remember he was a decent player. I remember he had a great left-hand hitter, great bat-to-ball skills. Not really sure what position he could play, but it's just sad. Maybe he'll be able to get reinstated, but who knows what's going to happen.
Nah, I doubt it. I don't see how he gets reinstated. When you're injured and you bet on your team, I mean that's the end. I don't see it happening. In fact, if you reinstate Tucupita Marcano, you might as well just put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame and reinstate him from Major League Baseball.
Well, after finishing that book with Pete was a little bit more aggressive in getting his bets than going on his phone and tapping on FanDuel. But, as someone who's been, like you, who's been in radio for a long time, I'm sure you've heard every single possible angle on the Pete Rose debate. I mean, that's just been a staple of talk radio for over 30 years.
100%. And we flew Pete Rose in. We brought Pete Rose in about 25 years ago for our Sports Expo, signed a ton of autographs that time, and he came in with a white jumpsuit and these crazy-looking Vegas gold sunglasses when he was there at the time. And this is before he admitted to betting on baseball. And that was one of the most popular individuals we ever brought in for our Sports Expo. Signed a ton of autographs and huge hit for us here in El Paso.
Yeah, that's what the book pointed out, was how popular Pete was with the media and getting along with people. And there was a huge difference between, I think, what people like you or I or fans saw and kind of the people Pete was interacting with in his personal life.
So true. John Conniff with us again from madfriars.com as we continue here on Sports Talk. Meanwhile, tonight, Adam Mazur gets a chance to make his major league debut for the Padres. I saw one write-up where somebody really called him like a one-pitch pitcher, his slider, although he does use his fastball as well. He throws two other pitches. You tell me, is that selling Mazur short? Do you think he's got a chance to have a nice career as a big leaguer, getting his first call up at the age of 22?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that is a big advantage of Mad Friars is, we go out to all these affiliates each year, and so we're able to see these guys and see them improve. When Mazur was first drafted, he's a guy who was from Minnesota. He was really thin in high school. He only threw about 85, 86. He goes to South Dakota State. He gets better there, but his pitching coach leaves. He goes out to Cape Cod, pitches well, goes to the University of Iowa, starts working with this guy who gets him to incorporate more of his body into his pitches, rises up pretty quick. Padres took him, was the third pitcher they took in 2022 in the second round of the draft. And last year when we talked to him in Fort Wayne, he was pretty consistent around 93 to 95. He had a really good slider. He was working on his changeup. And then the Padres wanted him, to kind of shelve his curve for a little bit. He kind of faded down the stretch a little bit last year. He kind of got tired. This year when I saw him out in San Antonio, I mean, he was sitting about 95, 96 with a four-seam fastball. He hit 98 occasionally. His slider was good, but the two things that really impressed me was his changeup had gotten a lot better, and his curve was really good. So, I mean, if you're a right-handed hitter and you're facing Mazur, he's throwing the ball up at about in the mid-90s. So you kind of got to gear up about that no matter what level you're at. Then the other pitch is coming into you as a right-handed hitter. His changeup's diving. It's more of a swing and miss pitch. But then his slider is going on the outside part of the plate, and he can throw that thing for strikes, and he can throw it to chase. But then you throw that curveball in there, and that thing's coming at the same plane as his fastball, and it just dives. And I caught Mazur on probably his worst start in San Antonio, and he was impressive. So, I mean, when you went to El Paso, when you look at the StatCast stuff, the changeup and the curve aren't going to move as much in the altitude, and particularly in Las Vegas. So he was going more toward the four-seam and the slider. He's put on some weight since he's drafted. He was real proud to tell me he's 6'3", 191. He's about 1 or 2% body fat, like you or I.
Good Lord.
He's in great shape. He's kind of a very sneaky good athlete. He repeats his delivery really well. And if you get a chance to watch him tonight, or I'm sure some of the people on El Paso have seen him, take a look at what he describes as being whippy. And what he does, he can kind of contort his body, and he can really generate some serious arm speed, and he can do it again and again and again. He's kind of a quiet guy. I mean, he's a competitor, but he's easily the best guy the Padres could call up, I think, among the upper levels.
John, I'll tell you what. I could spend all hour with you, but unfortunately, we got Hags standing by from the ballpark here in a little bit, and he's going to get us into the homestand. So let's plan on doing it again real soon. We'll have a much more in-depth conversation with you, where we could really dive into all the different levels, not just here in El Paso. But can't thank you enough for giving us the preview for Mazur tonight, talking a little bit about Marcano and Kelly. And ultimately, if you check out madfriars.com, folks, you'll see the weekend review. You'll also see the Padres Daily Farm Report. A lot of great content that's up. There's subscriber information as well. The top 20 for 2024 is archived. And as always, you guys do a terrific job handling that website for us.
Thank you so much, and make sure you say hello to Tim Haggerty. I've known Tim since he was in Mobile in 2004, and the sad thing is Tim looks about the same as he did then. I don't think that man ever ages. He's a great guy. You guys are lucky to have him as an announcer. I'm a huge Tim Haggerty fan.
He does not age. You're right, John. We'll even ask him about that when we come back and find out what his secret is. Maybe he does something we don't know about. We'll see. Great job,
all right,
John.
Take care of you and Adrian. I'll talk to you guys when I get in town.
You got it. Looking forward to it. John Conniff, folks, and Mad Friars as we continue here on Sports Talk. The aforementioned Tim Haggerty is next, right after Charlie 1 and one last traffic update.